together. It's certainly a lot of personal expense. I'd also like to acknowledge that on this convoy we ran into a lot of hardship in terms of, not on our part, but on the part of the people that we talked to that wanted to be a part of the event but simply could not afford money to come down here. Now, I don't know if any of you know, but in the years gone by, I've been around for about 40 years in transport, and I saw a gradual change in the affluence that we saw on the land back when I was a kid to now, and the affluence on the people on the land has diminished unbelievably. Now, just talking about fuel, it was one of the things that I heard constantly coming down here. The cost of fuel was the thing that stopped a lot of people from coming. But when I was a young fellow, we used to have fuel trucks running out to the properties and filling up their bulk storages. Over the years, that's gone back, and now it gets to a point where people now are going in with a 44 and filling it out of a Bowser and making do. None of the bulk storages are getting filled. That tells you that there's no money in the rural sector. These people can't even afford to fill their bulk tanks anymore. They have to buy their fuel as they need it. People working in the towns and that are also finding the same problem. Now, we had people coming out to talk to us on the way down on this convoy, and they just so wanted to be a part of what we were doing, but simply could not afford it. Now, there are probably people there that could have afforded it, that should have came, but didn't. And that worries me a little bit as well. But generally across the community, everywhere we went, I don't think one of our petitioners had a signature, refused to have a signature put on their thing. They were, every single one that was asked, signed. So that in itself tells you that the people in this country at this point in time want to see a change. We certainly want to see a return to a democratic process. Now, the whole reason for this event was to have a vote of no confidence in this government, based on the fact that this government, in our eyes, is not a legitimate government. Well, we're saying it's a government by a minority.
Definitely.
So what we are proposing is that we go back to the polls and we have a government put in place that has a mandate to govern in its own right. Now, whether it's the Labor Party or whether it's the Coalition or whether it's the Greens, whoever gets the mandate to govern, governs. It's as simple as that. We need to go back to the polls to do it. And I'm not advocating that we support, well, certainly from our point, we're not supporting either side of government. We're sending a message to both sides of government and saying, clean up your act and give us good government, because we're sick of bad government.
Definitely.
Well done.
Now, the thing that we did come across coming down here, and over the last 3 or 4 weeks that I've been organising it, and because I have been organising this, I get all the phone calls. We've had an incredible number of Labor people ring, and the first thing they say is, I've voted Labor all my life, and I will never vote Labor again. Now, while that may be a good thing in some ways for the people that want to support the other side of the camp, it's not a good thing for democracy. We need to have, in a two-party preferred system, we do need to have a government and we need to have an opposition. Now, if one of the parties is decimated and we only have government and we don't have any opposition, then we've gone too far the other way.
They have gone too far.
No, and I hear what you're saying, but look, let's be fair about this. You know, we are looking to have a democratic country, and we need a government to be held accountable, and you can't hold a government accountable if you don't have a strong opposition. So we're advocating a democratic system, but we're not advocating who should control, who should actually govern in this country. That's your decision, not my decision. It's not the decision of our board. But what we want to do is give you the opportunity to make that decision. And so for that reason, we are asking the government to, or Julia Gillard in particular, to dissolve the parliaments, go back to the polls. If the people want her government because she's been doing so well, they'll put her back in. But if they're not happy with what she's done, obviously they're going to vote elsewhere. But I do believe that people in the Labor Party have been disenfranchised from their party because they've told me that their party has been hijacked by the Greens and they're not happy. They are absolutely not happy. So what they're saying is that they have nowhere to go. They're never going to vote for the coalition. So they feel so disenfranchised that they are pretty much distressed, and a lot of them said they were coming on this convoy. So it was interesting to hear those comments. But at the end of the day, I believe that this Labor government has been compromised. I believe the integrity of this government has been compromised. I believe that the integrity of our Prime Minister has been compromised by the arrangement that she has with the Greens and the Independents. Not a good situation for her, because before the election she promised no carbon tax. We've heard it ad nauseum in the media. That's the promise that she made. The reality of the situation is that when you get into bed with other parties that have the balance of power or have the influence, you have to go back on your word on some instances, and I believe that that's what's happened to her in this case. I'm not saying she's a bad woman, I'm just saying that she is being manipulated, just like the rest of the Parliament. We have ministers within her in her government who fall short of the mark in terms of their performance. I don't believe that a lot of these ministers have any understanding of their portfolios, and certainly we've seen that with in the agricultural industry with the live export ban. I believe that some of our ministers are so inept that we shouldn't even feed them, let alone pay them.
Oh, well done.
So the message that now that we send to the government is that you need to put ministers in place that understand the portfolios that they're controlling, and get back to talking to people at a grassroots level. This idea that we have got to talk to the bureaucracy and that we can't talk to the ministers, to me, is totally undemocratic. We are their employers and they should be listening to us.
Definitely.
Okay, I've just got word that there's another convoy on its way past. Noel Porter's bringing one in from Colac. We have 11 convoys right across Australia coming into the city, and obviously we've staggered them. We've worked as closely as we can with the Federal Police. There was a massive amount of concern about how we were going to gridlock the city, how we were going to create traffic chaos. I believe that we've done everything we can to avert that.